Well, hell has frozen over. Cats and dogs are living together, The Simpsons is funny again, and literally everything that shouldn't be possible is now happening. Except that last one, because I've finally done what I said I'd do. Yeah, remember how I said I'd conclude my Angel Cop review a week after the first part? Well, that's happening, yeah. And there's been a number of reasons as to why I haven't been able to keep my word when it comes to reviewing certain anime. You see, I planned this all out way before I actually watch the shows I review, and sometimes I haven't watched them in a really long time, like Angel Cop, or in the events of One Punch Man, had only just watched them recently. So this forces me to put anime into one of three camps. Shows that give me a lot to talk about, like Dragon Ball Z and Angel Cop. Shows that give me very little to talk about, or at the least nothing new to say, like Evangelion and One Punch Man. And then there's shows like Death Note, Naruto, and Attack on Titan that make me feel absolutely nothing positive. My Pokemon review, though, that's another story. But be assured, Pokemon is going to be reviewed eventually this year. I've recently discovered a shit ton of animes I want to review, and Pokemon will more likely than not be reformatted into a brief review. Anyways, what happened in the last episode of Angel Cop? Last time we met a hard-ass cop named Angel and her useless partner Raiden. Raiden is useless, then shit got real, went from Die Hard to Dark City within the span of 2 episodes. Raiden became a cyborg, because of course he did, and we learned that hardcore anti-Semitism isn't just for little Austrian Charlie Chaplin impersonators. Without wasting any more time, let's see just how much Führer this anime can go down Bonkers Boulevard. The second half opens up with Gumshoe's nerdy assistant, the skinny nerdy guy from the last episode that I didn't talk about because he exists solely to get killed off, is waiting for Miss Granger here. However, Hermione was followed by what can only be described as Ivan Drago's wife, with the fashion sense of Crocodile from One Piece. She even kinda looks like a One Piece villain. This is Lucifer. While Lucifer has had a presence in the series up to now, I haven't talked about her because she didn't really do anything of note in the first 3 episodes. She sort of just appears in a few scenes, says some evil stuff, and sends Frank Zappa and Hermione off to go kill terrorists. I actually do like Lucifer as a villain, however. She has this very intimidating presence, a lot like Frieza and even the aforementioned Crocodile. She doesn't have to do a lot to make the viewer feel her presence. Her goal is very simple. She wants to kill all the terrorists to help Japan out, and she views this special service as some sort of hurdle in her path. And if you're wondering if the voice acting's improved at all since the last 3 episodes, let this be your answer.
Freya, it's too late.
I legitimately think it got worse. You know you're doing a really bad job when Taya Gardner from Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged actually sounds more like a female than the actual female.
Look at him undressing me with his eyes. I wonder what he's thinking.
Freya.
Honestly, Hermione's high-pitched chipmunk voice sounds like someone inhaled helium and then raised the pitch in Audacity. It doesn't even sound like a female. It sounds like a guy trying to sound like a chick. I'll bet they just handed a balloon filled with helium to Richard Epcar and had him inhale it. Meanwhile, Golgo 13 and Velma here are trying to deliver Tachihara to Gumshoe, and Lucifer turns Gumshoe's partner into a meat balloon from the waist down, and then steals a motorcycle to give chase to Golgo and Velma. Zappa and Hermione appear before Angel and Gumshoe to warn them that shit has now gone so far south that it's practically locking lips with Venezuela. Lucifer confronts Golgo and Velma, rips Velma's shirt open because this is a 90s anime, and it hasn't had any nudity so far, so it's got to make up for it in the last half, and makes it so that the police will need a shop vac to put Tachihara in a body bag. And then she leaves Golgo behind as a means to send a message to Angel and the rest of the special forces. Shortly after, Angel, Zappa, and Hermione all engage in a battle with Lucifer, and we start to see more of that award-winning writing at work here.
Fuck and piss!
Yeah. First 3 episodes weren't too bad for the writing. Nothing spectacular, but nothing as bad as...
Fuck and piss!
that. Don't fret, however, because like a bowl of kicks, it does get worse as you go on. Oh, and Hermione doesn't survive the battle. Yeah, she's dead. This is all fine, though, since in a fit of rage, Zappa hovers a fuel truck over Lucifer, which Angel then shoots with her overpowered hand cannon, and after Zappa teleports the 3 of them away to Gumshoe, Hermione dies of her wounds, and Zappa says the oddest thing I've ever heard in an anime. And that's saying a lot.
Freya, forgive me.
Come again?
Freya, forgive me.
Okay, am I the only person who hears fucking me? I know he's saying forgive me, but I keep hearing something else. And finally, we get some sort of backstory behind Zappa, Hermione, and Lucifer. However, it doesn't explain why they're psychic. No, they were just ordinary psychic people who worked with the Japanese military, but once they found out the military had no intention of using them for good things, they defected and tried to protect Japan from the Red May. So, they went from being military lapdogs to psychic vigilantes. Yet no explanation as to how they got their psychic powers, but hey, if Stephen King can get away with not explaining psychic powers, why can't this? The 5th episode is actually the best in the entire series. You see, up until this point, it's been story building with some good action in between. However, the story is kind of, shit. Yeah, it's all about stopping the communists who are being hired by an evil American Jewish conglomerate who just wants to upset the balance of the entire planet's economy for lols. It hasn't been explained yet, while Lucifer is trying to off all the terrorists and anyone that gets in her way, with very little regard to the lives of innocent bystanders. The 5th episode has literally none of that. It is all meat and cuts off all the fat, and gives me very little to talk about. This is clearly the episode with the most thought and effort put into it. The creators literally took everything the show excels at and focused solely on that. Seriously, it's 2 fight scenes with a bit of dialogue in between, and honestly, the fights are good. The voice acting and writing isn't good, but by this point, we've come to expect that. Midway through the episode, Raiden and Lucifer begin fighting, and Raiden gets severely damaged. Angel and Zappa head off to save his battered C-3PO ass, and while charging Raiden up, Angel decides to go full creeper. Normally, this would be a touching scene, and would show the dynamic of her becoming more human as Raiden progressively becomes more machine. However, with how creepy she sounds and the fact that he's kind of unconscious, it sorta comes across as a little creepy.
Believe me, if I see her, I'm gonna shoot first and then ask questions later.
Good luck, Angel.
And you.
You know what we haven't had enough of lately? Exposition. So Gumshoe gets the shit shot out of him by Misaka, and well, he's sort of the governor of Tokyo. He's been illegally selling stocks of a Japanese company to an American company so that they could fund research in illegal nuclear weapons so that Misaka could sell them on the black market. The purpose of the Red May was to crash Japan's economy, creating global unrest and thus an even larger market for its nuclear weapons. This is all a very good plan, but it feels out of place, and it's kind of shoehorned into the last few minutes of the episode. Misaka has very little screen time in all 6 episodes, probably about 15 minutes total. The show focused largely on Lucifer and her hatred for the terrorists, so why even bother with this? Like, what is the point of this if you're just going to focus on the action anyways? It just seems like a waste. It's like someone on the production team wanted to make a good detective anime, and they half succeeded, and someone else wanted to make a big dumb action series, and they both had to find a way to compromise, and we got this instead. All the while, Angel's fighting Lucifer, and the fight's not exactly going so well. Eventually, Lucifer gets the upper hand on Angel, but before she can kill her, Raiden comes in and disarms a psychotic psychic with a shot from his laser. Also, I found an animation flub. It's pointless and small, and I just like pointing out these sorts of things because I think it's fun to find animation flubs. While Raiden's advancing towards Lucifer, she blasts off his shoulder piece. In the exact same scene, that shoulder piece is right back and in perfect condition. But hey, you know, the animation has been good so far, so the animators were probably like, it's the last episode, no one's gonna notice. Raiden comes up with the bright idea of holding Lucifer down, while Angel shoots them both with the assault pistol right through the head. Which is a stupid idea, because Raiden could have just held her in place with his hand and shot through the hand and... But before doing this, of course, the hero always has to say something cool, you know? Like, they say something really cool and heroic, and I mean, if you're gonna kill someone who's pissed you off for as long as Lucifer has, you want them to have an awesome line to think about while they're on their way to hell. So, what's Angel say?
All right, I'll do it. Straight through the back of the head, like you say. But if this is justice, then I'm a banana.
Wait, what?
But if this is justice, then I'm a banana.
Did I fucking hear that right?
But if this is justice, then I'm a banana.
Someone got paid to write that. Now, when the script was finished, it no doubt went to an editor, who also read that line and approved of it. And then it had to be read by Angel's voice actress, who managed to say it without cracking up. Look, I get that the show isn't well written, but holy shit! What the fuck? If this is justice, then I'm a banana. No, I'm done. I'm done. There's nothing I can say about that. How am I supposed to talk about a show with a line that has no logic or... You know what? Use that in an argument. Like, just use that in an argument. Next time you get into an argument with your friend, just say, if this is justice, then I'm a banana, and see how they react. Like, just... what? What? Banana what? That's not even the really stupid part. You see, the gun broke her arm. Yeah, the recoil from the gun broke her arm. Yes, this was hinted at before with the pistol's recoil being so powerful that it would break a normal human's arm, but explaining the stupid doesn't make it less stupid. And also, Angel's aim is fucking terrible. You'd imagine that for a chick that scores headshots more than CM Punk dodges his UFC debut, she'd get this pretty easily, but no, it takes four fucking shots before she finally gets Lucifer in the head. And that's pretty much the end. Ugh. This OVA it's got some good ideas, okay? It's definitely trying to be more than a mindless action anime. But it fails in just about every regard. Firstly, if they wanted us to focus on the political aspects of the plot, all the intrigue, the mystery, everything going on there, they really should have made that the focus, with fighting being kept to a more grounded and realistic level as opposed to the near Dragon Ball Z level shit we got here. An example of a show that does this sort of thing well is Cowboy Bebop. The focus in most episodes of Cowboy Bebop is usually the job Spike takes on. Well, the fights are never the main focus, they're just there to create tension and keep us invested in the story and characters. But here, the fights are focused on for way too long. I mean, whoever animated them, they did a great job, and they were way too proud of their work, which, rightfully so. It's great work, there's great animation, the fight choreography is great, everything about the fights is great, it's fun, but it's the focus, it's all this show is good for. It's just, they wanted to make it more than a mindless action show, and they didn't really know how to do that. Add this to the anti-Semitic tones of the original Japanese version, and you can kind of see why this show isn't too fondly remembered. It's made even worse by the terrible dub, as well as that really bad writing. Someone once said vulgarity is no substitute for wit, and there's no finer example than this anime right here. The swearing, while humorous and silly, is really unnecessary. Now, I'm not someone that's usually like, oh, they said fuck, so I'm gonna have a problem with that. No. I'm fine with that. If you're gonna say fuck, go right the fuck ahead, right? No problems. But do not rely on it. It's like an 8-year-old wrote this script. Someone put those lines in there, those words in there, simply because they thought it would be cool and edgy and make it really funny and awesome and dark. It's desperate. It's desperate. It's like the new Devil May Cry, where there's that scene where Dante's like, fuck you, and the demon's like, fuck you, and they keep going back and forth just saying fuck you. It's not good writing, and that game got awards for its writing. But what is necessary is the ultra-violence, because, to be honest, this OVA wouldn't be nearly as entertaining if not for the sheer amount of gore and brutal violence. At first, I found myself kind of appalled by it, despite this not being my first time seeing this anime, and shit, this isn't even the most violent one I've ever seen. But over time, I began to see almost a sick, twisted beauty in seeing someone's skull fracture as a bullet travels through it and their eye hangs out by the cord, which probably means I have issues. Regardless, this anime is fun. It's stupid, it's dumb, it's over the top, it's cheesy, it's campy, it's fun. it's enjoyably bad. So I guess, yeah, it does really stand up to what people say about it, that it's an enjoyably bad anime. That's just, it's got so much going on for it, so much wrong going for it, and it still manages to make it kind of entertaining. But next review, we'll be looking at another classic piece of anime schlock that's even more violent and is actually quite offensive. I mean, legitimately offensive. Let's just say, it's the kind of anime that Anita Sarkeesian would faint at if she saw it. I'll see you then.